I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious crumble pie. It's not quite a pie or a crumble, it's both. And I'm going to serve that with vanilla ice cream and it's going to be delicious. Let's start with some tinned pears. They're really, really good. They're picked at their best. They're processed really proficiently. They're beautifully trimmed up and peeled. They've done all the hard work for you. So what I'm going to do is get a nice little casserole pot, put it on a medium-high heat. I'm going to put my hands over the pear and just pour in that liquor. So that's just pure juice. So what we can do is just bring this to the boil and reduce it and get it down to a syrup, which will be a natural sugar syrup. Now, frozen fruit. I've got 2 bags of Black Forest mix. So in here, we've got the sour cherries, blackberries, sweet cherries, even blueberries and black currants. Brilliant. If you look in here, can you see the bubbles have come up already? If we reduce that by half, we're going to concentrate those natural sugars and it will give you a kind of syrup, which is really, really nice. Now, I want to get some flavour in there. I'm going to use some vanilla. So 1 teaspoon of vanilla paste. Now, one of the flavours that I'm using is orange, and you don't always have to use the juice. The zest is amazing. So what I do is I use one of these fine graters, or if you've got a box grater, use the little fine side. And I just want to use like a quarter of an orange, just like that. And that little bit of zest is more than enough to really lift this whole story. So, you can see this syrup has already thickened. Can you see that? And so now in with those quarters of pear, and then in with this pack of frozen fruit. So that's 2 500-gram bags. I'm going to go in with 150 grams of sugar. You could swap out the sugar for honey. I'd go slightly less, maybe 100 grams, because it's a little bit sweeter by weight. So mix in that sugar. And we'll cook that down on like a medium heat for 5 minutes just to mix all those beautiful flavours up. And that is the perfect amount of time for making homemade pastry. It's really simple. If you've never done it before, come with me on this little journey. So clean hands. I've got 200 grams of butter, beautiful unsalted butter. I'm just going to put a cloth down there because it's wobbling. What I want to do is add twice the amount of flour by weight. So 200 butter, 400 plain flour, okay? And that is the ratio that gives you perfection every single time. Salt it for seasoning. I'm also going to put a little orange zest in it as well, so maybe half of an orange zest goes in. Will it make a difference? Yes. But also a little icing sugar, so 75 grams of icing sugar as well goes in. And then we're going to use our fingers and thumbs to just basically squash this butter and just rub it in like that. So use your thumb and forefinger to just pinch and push the butter into little flakes. It's a nice little relaxing job just to do for a few minutes while the fruit does its thing. Look at those colours. But look, one of the problems with fruit-based desserts is they can let off too much liquid and become a little bit, watery, I guess. So we can control that in 2 ways. One, by cooking it down a little bit, as we are. Have a little look at this. So we're evaporating off some of that excess liquid. The other way, which is brilliant, is to use 30 grams or 2 heaped tablespoons of corn flour. It's going to thicken this up, and when your tart, once it's cooked, gets to room temperature, it kind of just solidifies a little bit, and then it will control that liquidiness. So let that simmer for just a couple of minutes while I'll finish this pastry. We'll take just a handful of this topping. So make a little well in the middle. Then I'm going to add into here 1 lovely large free-range egg. And then I'm going to use this second egg in 2 ways. The first way, I'm going to put the egg whites in here. That is just to glaze the side of the beautiful tart shell. And then this yolk will go in here. So it's 1 egg, 1 yolk. And then I'm just going to use my hand now just to mix it up, and it will come together to make a lovely pastry. So you want it to kind of come together as a dough by kind of moving, sort of scrunching and patting it together. Why? Because we want it to be short. Short means crumbly, crumbly means delicate, delicate means delicious, right? So the more you work it, the harder it will get. So in no time at all, look what we got. Some lovely homemade pastry and our lovely crumbly topping. This will go in the fridge now for half an hour, just to chill out, firm up. Then I've got a great little hack on how you can line a pastry mold really easily. And then look, have a look at this. This is thickened up beautifully. So I'll turn the heat off, let that cool down. So I'll come back in half an hour and let's make this beautiful crumble pie. So we've had a little time to cool down the filling and chill out the pastry. Look, normally with pastry you would roll it out. There are some techniques where you slice it and then kind of push it together. This one is a slightly different method. Your hard, firmed up pastry, I'm just going to grate it just like cheddar cheese, right, on the coarse grater. And all that worry about, are you doing it perfectly, have gone, because it's a very rustic sort of base. Any worries about tears or cuts, well, that's not a problem because the whole thing is just going to get sort of pushed like that together. So grate away. I want it to be about 1/2 centimetre thick, pushing this in to be one homogeneous little layer. So I'll grate some now on the side to actually push up the sides. So have a little look. Just grab a little wodge and just squeeze it and push it. What I like about this method is if you do it really well, that's great. And if you do it quite badly, it's great. And if it gets more people to try and make their own pastries and desserts, I think that's a really good thing. So last bit's going in. Run your fingers around, but that's basically it. Now, we're not going to bake this blind, so that's kind of one stage that you don't have to do for a normal tart. What I'm going to do is get this cooled filling, and I'm going to put that inside. Look at the colour, just extraordinary. Look at that, so get your juice in there. With this crumble topping, just kind of grab some and just kind of scrunch it up a little bit and then kind of break it into those nice crumbly chunks. Having the crumble topping just lets it breathe a little bit and it starts to blip away and it's just joyful. Look at that, gorgeous. So the only thing I'm gonna do now is just take a little bit of that egg white and just run the brush around that, just so you get a nice kind of shine to it. So this is gonna go in the oven now for 45 minutes. And I'm gonna specifically put it at the bottom of the oven. Why? So we get maximum heat to the base of this tart mold. So we get crispy bum, crispy side, and perfectly cooked tart. In an oven which has been set to 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit. That heat from the bottom of the oven will cook the base of the pastry case, the sides, the fruit will start blipping away, the crumble will be golden. It's gonna be a thing of joy with a nice dollop of vanilla ice cream. While that's cooking, please click the like button and give us some love. And don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and remember to turn on that notification bell so you know what's happening. Now, back to the recipe. So, it's had 45 minutes. It smells amazing. It looks beautiful. Look at that. Oh, just blipping away. It's like fruity lava with that crumble topping. If you let this cool down for like 2 hours to come to room temperature, it will just firm up and it will slice beautifully. And even if you want to put it in the fridge as well, it will firm up even more. So I'll let that cool down and then I'll serve that with a nice bit of vanilla ice cream and it will be a beautiful thing. Okay, so you can see now it's cooled down, it's kind of just shrinked up a little bit. It looks beautiful. A nice little trick for getting it out of its mold, real simple one. Get a little bowl, turn it on its back, and then just equally place this in the middle, and if you're lucky, nothing happens. But if you agitate it, see, I knew it would come. So look, there is your lovely tart. You can see by grating the pastry, you do get a different texture. I've got a little jug of boiling water, ice cream scoop. I've got some ice cream out of the freezer and just popped it into the fridge just for like 20 minutes. So let's get in there. As usual, sharp knife, you can kind of try and support the side so it doesn't break too much. It doesn't matter if it does. Look at that. Oh. Welcome to the wonderful world of a crumble pie. And that on a plate with a nice little dollop of ice cream. Let's have a try. Exciting. Making your own pastry makes such a difference to the texture. It's shorter, it's crumblier, just such a joy. Guys, please make this. If you've never made pastry, have a go. So simple, and that method gives you such a wonderful rustic finish and delicious to eat. Enjoy, take care.